Before we start today, I have to tell you about State Farm agent Brian McDevitt. A lot of our listeners have gone to him for all their insurance needs, and he's been very helpful in getting them the coverage they deserve. There's no games with Brian. He's just here to help and make sure you feel safe. So if you have insurance needs and you haven't called him yet, what are you waiting for? Dial up the number, 630-796-2662. That's 630-796-2662. Or visit his website, ryanismyagent.com. That's ryanismyagent.com. And make sure to mention Sports Talk Chicago. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. I want to start today with this. Hype is a very dangerous concept. You might be wondering, John, why would you say that? Because a player, when hyped up, usually does not live up to the expectations put on them. Have there been many players who've been hyped and then actually lived up to that hype? There aren't many. It's very tough to find that in a player. I mean, think about it. Every NFL quarterback is hyped. Realistically, everyone at some point was hyped. Jamarcus Russell, Ryan Leaf, Dwayne Haskins, recent one. Everyone looked great in practice. Everyone had all the intangibles, all the tools necessary, and yet somehow, in games, they didn't perform. Wait a minute, they had all the tools. Great college career, good draft pick, hard worker. What happened? That's because hype kept going. It's like a snowball. As hype continues to mount and mount, the snowball gets bigger. And as a player, when you face off against that big a snowball, you are not going to beat it. Plain and simple. You will not live up to him. That's just a fact. You won't. Now, I'm not saying Justin Fields faces that same fate. I do believe he's talented. Not a fan of the Bears trading out, but that's a different story. I do believe he's talented, and I do believe he has potential to be a great starting quarterback for the Bears. That said, we're already seeing it happen. Over hype. Hype, but to a 50th degree. OTAs have started for the Bears, rookie minicamp, all that stuff's going on, and all we see, day in and day out from reporters who've been there, is hype. You'd think we'd see objective talk, some substance? No, just hype. For those of you who watched my Cubs video and listened on the radio a few days ago, I said, you could say this team is a vibe, you could like the chemistry on this team, but I want to talk about substance. I'm in the wins business. I'm in the numbers business. I'm not in, oh, it's such a feel-good, cuddly story business. I feel like the same thing's happening here right now. I don't like that. Quote, Justin Fields dropped 2 snaps from under center today, but there was so much more to his day. Wait a minute. Which is it? I'm not saying Fields is bad, but you kind of just glossed over something that could be important. He threw a beautiful deep ball to Demary Bird for a touchdown. Fields also corrected his teammates at the line and made sure to have the right personnel in the huddle. Good day for him. Great. I'm sure it was a good day. You realize, though, that's the only writer, Adam Johns, who said Fields made a mistake, and even then he glossed over it. Bears wide receiver Darnell Mooney said he was smiling mid-route on a pass from Justin Fields. Can't go into a lot of detail, but from what I saw, it was a very good day for rookie quarterback Justin Fields. Sure it was. Sure he looked good. We've seen video, talented quarterback, but this is hype. The hype train has started. And the thing that really worries me about Fields is, will he live up to it? And if he doesn't, what's going to happen? That's the real concern here. Now, Andy Dalton did not do well in day one. Apparently, he threw 3 interceptions during 7-on-7 drills. That stuff means nothing right now. Everybody will tell you it means a lot. Oh, my goodness, Fields should win the job today. No. And whomever you get your news from, if they tell you that, I would unsubscribe and just stop following right away. Here's Jim Trotter, great writer for NFL Media. Quote, I get the insatiable appetite for all things NFL, really I do, but pretending as if we can draw conclusions from non-padded, non-contact minicamp practices is something I'll never get. Thank you, Jim. You could say he had a good practice. That's it. Saying that now he deserves the starting job after a couple of OTAs, which some people are saying, that's ridiculous. I know what everybody wants. From day one, everybody knew what Bears fans wanted. It was obvious. Everybody thought, kick Dalton to the curb, why'd we sign him, move on, here we go. No. That's not how it works. You'll hear it from Teddy Greenstein in a moment. Even Teddy said, and this is a guy, by the way, who covered Fields at Ohio State. Nothing but praise for Fields. He still said, don't rush him. Don't ruin his confidence. All of this hype may help Fields today, but when things don't go well, when he faces adversity, the hype will come back to bite him. That should be concerning. How many quarterbacks have been hyped over the years? Virtually every single one has had some sort of hype. Some capacity. I'm not saying a lot, but some. Mitch Trubisky had hype. Sam Darnold, Josh Rosen, Baker Mayfield, Johnny Manziel. I mean, we could go on and on and on here. Everybody's had hype. But when adversity strikes, how do you deal with it? And in a lot of cases, the hype will actually blind you as a quarterback. You'll be so blinded and so caught up in the hype that when things start going wrong, you don't know how to adjust. That's the number one concern I have about Fields and about this whole thing. Now, a word from our sponsor, True Classic Tees. Are you tired of boxy t-shirts that just won't get the job done? What about ones that feel too big and uncomfortable? I have that problem a lot, especially as a taller person. Thanks to True Classic Tees, though, those problems are over. See, I'm wearing one right now. Very comfortable, double-stitched for endurance, and custom-made to fit your dimensions. And get this, a portion of every sale goes towards helping homeless vets get off the street. So you're helping out our veterans, and you're buying quality material from a good, independent company. Listeners of this program get a discount, too. Use Jon10, that's Jon10, to get 10% off your next purchase. Go to TrueClassicTees.com or find the link in the description of the video. True Classic Tees, top clothing and a good cause. Sure, he had a great day, but you can't gloss over his mistakes or just throw them off to the side and say, well, a couple of mistakes, but overall, great day, and not even expound upon them. Because when he does make a real mistake, that's going to be an issue. I know what everybody wants. I'm asking you to be patient, though. The Bears are too, believe it or not. For once, I agree with the Bears' official position. As of today, Matt Nagy has said Andy Dalton will start week 1. What's the problem with that? But he threw 3 interceptions at 7-on-7. Doesn't matter. Makes no difference. What day is it today? June 10th. That shouldn't determine who starts, who sits when the season doesn't start for 100 days. I'm really happy to see Fields throw a good deep ball. That's a fact. Bears have never really had a quarterback who could do that. Jay Cutler, maybe to an extent, but even then, there were times in which he wasn't consistent. That's a positive. That's my biggest takeaway from OTAs. Justin Fields could throw a deep ball. Great. But he also has issues with snaps and exchanges with the center. Those need to be corrected. They will with time. That's why he's not starting week 1 yet. That's why he won't start week 1 till he's perfect when it comes to that aspect of things. You can't have a careless fumble in a game because of something routine like that. This is what I meant from the very beginning when I said don't rush it. See, now it's coming to fruition and people are seeing more details. He'll learn that. But he won't learn it in a game making 10 fumbles. He needs to learn that in practice and on the bench before you go in. There are some things you have to learn before you perform. That's one of them. Cannot have careless fumbles in a game. Can't give away the football for no reason. Interception, different. Fumble because of another player. Can get punched out of you. Strip sack, different. But a fumble because of something like that, something you could control, problem. He dropped 2 snaps from under center. But here's the main thing. Who even cares about that? Let's say he was perfect when it came to snaps. What did I just say from Jim Trotter? Non-padded, non-contact minicamp practices. That should tell you all you need to know about who starts game 1, the quarterback competition, who's winning it. That. Non-padded, non-contact minicamp practices. You could try and draw conclusions and reach. You're not fooling me. You're really not fooling me. No contact, no pads. That means, hence, I don't care. He could have had a perfect day, could have thrown the ball 50 yards. That's great. But no contact, no pads, no pressure, no rush to the quarterback. Not dealing with a new offensive line. Not having to run plays against the defense. Not having to balance the run game and the pass game. Right. Just calm down. Everybody needs to calm down a second. I get this is exciting. I get he's the new toy, the new quarterback. But remember the context in which this stuff is being reported. Remember the context. No pads, no contact. Mini camp, 7-on-7s. This isn't even real football. It's like me going up to a high school football field and just throwing the ball around. I mean, this is not anything official yet. Let's see him in pads. Let's see him in a preseason game. Let's see him in padded practice, a training camp. Then we could talk about, okay, this looks good, this looks bad. The fact of the matter is, he's having some issues with transferring the ball between him and the center. Not good. That needs to be fixed, and it will be. So even though Andy Dalton threw 3 interceptions, I'd say right now, obviously, it's still his job. 3 interceptions will be corrected. But I guarantee you Dalton didn't drop the ball from the center. He's a veteran. He knows better. Just knows more. That's just because he has more experience. Fields will get there, but he needs to accrue more practice hours and more experience. It's like driving a car, getting your license. Here in the state of Illinois, you have to garner 50 hours of driving before you can even apply to get your license. You have your permit, you have to drive for 50 hours. 10 of them have to be at night. Then you get your permit, then you get your license, and you move forward. Can't do that until you have enough hours down. Same with Fields. You can't say after a week he's ready when he's barely even practiced yet. That's just irresponsible, and that's hot takery. What are you going to do? Fields did sign a new contract, though. They finally agreed on one. Fully guaranteed, 4 years, $18.8 million contract, an $11 million signing bonus. And after his third season, the Bears have the option to lock up Fields for a 5th year. Here's a quote from Pro Football Talk. At the moment, the Bears are identifying Andy Dalton as their starting quarterback, but it's only a matter of time before Fields gets the job, and the Bears are hoping he keeps the job for many years to come, long enough that he signs a second contract that dwarfs the first one. Just for reference, that's about the going rate for a rookie contract. Same as Mitch's, actually. Very team-friendly deal. If Fields works, that's a hell of a deal for the Bears. If he doesn't, well, they lose $18 million. Still not bad. It's fully guaranteed. That's a new clause. Usually it's partially guaranteed and partially not guaranteed. I'm happy to see the contract worked out. That's very important. And I'm happy to see Fields have some success, especially with the deep ball. That's something the Bears have struggled with for my lifetime. I'm 21. I've never seen a really good deep ball thrower as the Bears quarterback, with the exception of maybe Jay Cutler. And I say maybe because he was very inconsistent anyways and was never on the field, always hurt. So that's promising. Don't like the issues when it comes to exchanging the football. Don't like the hype, and don't like the Bears PR team hyping it up. And by Bears PR team, I mean some writers. Look, you have to be objective. When I read these details, I think, well, good deep ball, but can't do the basics yet. And of course, you see how it's being framed. We forget about him not doing the basics. We just say, oh, great deep ball, and then Andy Dalton 3 picks. Oh, put in Fields. See how that's being spun here? Do you see it? It's already happening. This is going to get much worse come August and September. Just wait. I know I've said that already, but you could already see it starting to get worse. There are divisions, heated opinions to come. We'll be here for all of it. But just remember, draw your own conclusions and do your own research here. He may have a great deep ball, but he's struggling with some basics. I don't want him starting until the basics are down pat. When they're down pat, put him in. But until they are, shouldn't be starting. Shouldn't be saying he should start. The Bears have to do this the right way. They can't screw it up again. No plan C, no nothing. This is it. Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace were lucky enough to get a second chance. That never happens. Don't screw it up. And remember, you may enjoy the hype. You may love to get caught up in the hype and get all ready to go. But that could end up biting you and biting Fields in the butt when the season starts and he faces adversity. Hey, what do you like about this Bears team? Oh, I just like Fields. I think he's going to be great deep ball. Well, what about substance? What's he done numbers-wise? Well, I don't know. I love this Cubs team. It's a vibe. What about numbers-wise? Well, see? Let's talk substance. Let's talk numbers. Let's talk something measurable. Not, oh, I saw it with my own 2 eyes. Oh, I like this team. They give me a good feeling. Let's talk numbers. Time is still on the Bears' side. There's a long way to go before the season. And as I've said time and time again, my official position is still this: don't rush him. Don't break him. There's a ways to go in his career, and there's a ways to go for the Bears here. There is no need to cave in to public pressure to put him in yet. Do what you think is best for your franchise. If no one understands it, so be it. People will understand soon enough when you start winning. Do not cave in to the pressure from the media and the fans. Do what you believe is correct for the direction of your franchise. More to come here on Sports Talk Chicago. My interview with Dane Parker comes up next, so stay tuned.